Hello and welcome back to My Mom's Basement and the Loki penultimate episode recap edition of My Mom's Basement. We always say on My Mom's Basement that the penultimate episodes are the biggest ones. And to make it big, we've got the Clancy Variants on. We've got Brendan and KFC. We said it's been a while since both brothers have been on together, and it's a long time coming. So, Brendan, you've been on for the recaps before. KFC, you have not been on for any of our Marvel recaps. You've been watching the shows. You've been watching Loki. We'll start with you. What do you think about Loki?
Oh, don't hate it. Don't hate it. Don't hate it.
No, I love it.
We're all so nervous.
I knew I was going to love Loki from the jump. I was a little initially I feel like everyone kind of framed it as like Marvel meets Quantum Leap, and Loki's going to be like doing real world stuff. So, and there are hints of that. But I thought it was going to be like literally Quantum Leap type shit where it's like Marvel meets the real world. So I didn't know. This was totally unexpected, but I've loved it. And listen, anytime I can get a show where there's a reference to the Lighthouse of Alexandria and the Philadelphia Experiment, I'm fucking in, man. This is like touching all of my nerd sensors. So I'm loving it. Even as like a non-Marvel nerd. I mean, there was so many Easter eggs that went over my head as I started to like research it. So I'm sure it's even better for you guys. But I love all those little things. So I'm all the way in on Loki.
That makes me thrilled.
Like you said, Kev, this is, we all grew up having Easter egg hunts and stuff. This is the ones where they just take the candy and throw it in your front yard, and you can see every Easter egg, not even look out the window. There's so many, which I'm sure we'll get into. And which one of you guys is Thor? Which one of you guys is Loki in the Clancy family? Because I have my my guess.
I would probably have to be Loki, I would think.
Hater of the year. The god of mischief himself.
Yeah.
I don't know. Thor's the star. Thor's,
No, I think
you need Thor.
Yeah.
I don't know. Brendan's got the Loki as care coming in as well.
Yeah.
So,
it's coming to an end, by the way. My mom is coming to visit next week.
She will physically chop it off.
I'm not even. Yeah, she'll go Thanos style. She'll just Thor right across the Stormbreaker.
She will bring out scissors herself.
It'll ruin my whole week.
She'll come at you like Stan Lee and Ragnarok, right? Cutting Thor's hair. Brendan, you haven't been on for any of the Loki recaps. What do you think about them?
I love it. I got thrown off too with the advertising with the DB Cooper stuff was heavy on he's going to be, and then they were kind of like, that was just a side bet. So I was a little disappointed in that. It's so wild and weird and unpredictable. And I'm at this weird place where I'm sure we'll get into it, but the predictions for who is going to be the big bad or the twist are so heavily affected by WandaVision and our predictions of Mephisto and being wrong. But I mean, it all seems to be pointing in one direction, even more than Mephisto was. So
wait, you don't think the villain is Mephisto?
In this, it might be, honestly. You never know where they're going with this. So it's weird to look back at all the source material and try and figure out where they're going, and then to also just stop and be like, just enjoy it for what it is as like an original production. But it's so good, and like some of the casting I didn't think would work as well as it has, and it's been great all the way around.
Yeah, I didn't think Owen Wilson was going to be good at all, and then that totally fell into place perfectly.
Yeah.
What a likable character he is. In this episode, when he comes in with that car and picks up Sylvie, that was like such a delightful surprise.
Also,
yes, my guy.
So he just had a time pad. What are they called? 10 pads the whole time?
I guess he did.
He was able to just walk away. Like he got pruned, and then he was just like, all right, I'm going through the door.
I forget.
That's what I mean. I don't know. Maybe I missed it, but it was just like I just remember being like, "Oh wait, okay, he can just walk away." There's no he was never in any deathly no. It was nothing. Nothing was dire for him. He was like, "See ya."
It's an Owen Wilson move too. He'd be like, "Oh no, don't worry about it. I had one of these the whole time. Whatever." So
the pruning thing was a little weird too. How it was like it was the worst thing in the world. Oh my god, it's so deadly, and then it was just like, oh, nobody dies. So I didn't love that, but it's like you needed it to continue the storyline. So.
I do like the idea that pruning sends people to the end of time. Like when they said it's the end of time, it's the void. I was like, that's fucking metal. Let's go. So I dug that. We can get right into the episode, but first, I want to talk about 3Chi real quick. I'm in Las Vegas, the land of legal weed, but I still got my 3Chi. I still got the 3Chi pen for the flight. KFC's got his 3Chi right there.
You walk around my house, it's like there's a bag of gummies, there's the vapes, it's all over my house.
Same here. I mean, this stuff is the best on the market. They basically created the industry. And if you look at their website, KFC just alluded to it. They've got every product in the world. They've got gummies, they've got vapes, they've got cereal treats, cookies, brownies, oils, tinctures, anything that you could imagine 3Chi coming in, they make. And it's amazing. All of it. I get the Incredible Hulk strain. I get the Pineapple Express strain. I love the vapes. I love the gummies. They will give you the best sleep you have ever had. You take a gummy before bed, lay down. Oh my God. It is pure bliss. I don't feel
groggy in the morning. Everything else makes me groggy, not this.
Absolutely. I agree. People say that sometimes you get like a weed hangover if you eat like normal edibles. 3Chi does not give that in my experience. Takes away a lot of the paranoia, anxiety that normal weed has. I couldn't recommend it more. I use it every day. I swear by it. The promo code is MMB for My Mom's Basement, and you will get 5% off your complete order. Oh, look, Clem's wearing the shirt. Perfect. I'm in Las Vegas, so I've got the Team McGregor Executive Director of Support on right now. And I'm at the beautiful M Resort, which is a Penn property. Get that stock going up. Come on. This is the official hotel of the Raiders. My mom's got so much Penn stock. I'm really just trying to pump it for her. All right, let's get right into the episode. So we pick up where we left off last week. Loki wakes up in the void. He's before a bunch of different Lokis, an old Loki, a black Loki, a kid Loki, an alligator Loki.
Yeah, it's so funny because I watch with subtitles on. So when a Loki off screen is talking, they give him a name. So it was Kid Loki and Classic Loki, and I wanted to see if they were just going to say Black Loki.
I think they gave him Boastful Loki.
I read that because but I was like, call him Black Loki. Call him Black Loki. We're all thinking it. We're all thinking it. Just say it.
Old Loki points to this big smoke monster dragon type thing. He says, "That's Goliath. That's basically we're in a shark tank right here, and you don't want to be here."
Smoke monster.
Yeah. Yes, like literally, we interviewed Michael Waldron. He brought up Lost being one of his favorite shows, and I was like, look at that. He brings in the smoke monster. And they said Goliath eats entire branched realities to ensure that they never return from this. And we learned that Kid Loki actually runs this place, and it's because he killed his Thor. Fucking talk about metal. That's metal.
I fucking love Kid. I mean, Alligator Loki's everyone's favorite. Let's just call that what it was.
They are so brilliant at just being like, and here's the funny little cute thing that you're gonna like, Alligator Loki Gator. It's crazy.
They would show each Loki individually, and the camera would always like Alligator Loki was always included in every single shot, which I always appreciate. Like he's an equal Loki, just like everybody else. And the fact when I heard he killed Thor, and listen, Thor, I fucking love Thor. I've always he's always like one of my favorite characters, non-X-Men. When I heard he killed Thor, I was like, I fist bumped. I was like, yeah, fuck that Thor in that variant reality. Fuck that guy. He deserved it.
Because Thor was an asshole as a kid. Thor was he didn't grow up. So if he killed him when he was a kid, like he was an asshole then. He probably deserved it.
Yep, definitely. And people have been saying this Kid Loki could become like a Young Avengers. He could get like mixed in with that, which I dig. Like that actor was pretty good too, and that whole story would be a lot of fun.
I'm in on him joining the Young Avengers. I like that they're building that in the shadows right now with young Eli Bradley, right? The Patriot. They've got Wanda and Vision's kids in WandaVision. They've got Ant-Man's kid. They've got Kate Bishop, who Hawkeye's going to be training in his series. So in the shadows, slowly but surely, we got the Young Avengers coming up. We cut back to the TVA. Ravonna tells Sylvie Loki's not dead. We just sent him to the end of time. And she's like, I want to find out what's going on too. I don't know what's happening now. Do we buy this? Do we buy that Ravonna doesn't know what's happening?
I hate her, man. Every time she's on screen, she drives me nuts. I don't trust her even one little bit. I don't know what she's about, but I don't like it, and I don't think anybody should trust her.
Yeah, I don't get. This is the one problem I have with the show where I'm like, I don't think that they were clear enough about what's a lie and what's not. Is the TVA? Is there someone behind it? Is it sort of just like a rudderless ship? What does Ravonna really know? And if they're keeping that a mystery for a reason, it's fine. But when Sylvie pruned herself, I was like, that means you just trust Ravonna when she was very clearly lying to you. Like she was very clearly stalling for time and lying to you. so you might have just killed yourself. So that's where I'm just
point. I
like,
didn't even think about that. See, my foolish self was just like, "Yep, I'm believing what Ravona's saying now too."
and you should, because we've already seen it.
Yeah, true.
That's true. But I'm like, I don't really think that was a logical decision from Sylvie. But you don't really need everything to be super logical. But it just
in that moment, like, I don't think she had another play, right?
True. She was cornered.
Gotta do this because what else could she really have done? But yeah, it's like, what if zap and you're fucking dead?
Got her again. She said she's dead. But that's where it's just like when you're trying to decipher what's real and what's not, it's tough because I think a little of that has been inconsistent.
That was my note here. It said, if you trust me. Bitch, I don't trust you one fucking bit. I trust you less. You were number one on the sus list last week. You're the most sus person in this fucking fake reality that may not even be real. Like, how could you trust her? But again,
when you're the most sus character in a show full of Lokis, like where literally all they do is lie, then like, no, you're not trustworthy at all. But yeah, I don't know. And I don't know if we'll really get a reveal because Loki, they said already has a season 2 booked, right? Like they're definitely doing a season 2. I'm pretty sure.
I think they are doing a season 2
and
of
that
Loki.
Makes me think that we're not necessarily going to get too much resolution because like season 1 never really like fills in all the gaps. It builds anticipation for season 2. So I don't know what we're going to find out and what we're not.
This does come, what we just alluded to, minutes after, no pun intended, Miss Minutes is used to stall for time. And we said from the beginning, Miss Minutes, a little bit sus, a little bit, why are you jumping into TVs and then coming out of TVs? How is that working? And this bitch fucking stalls for time on Ravona's behalf. She has that sweet southern accent, gets you in, makes you feel cozy, and then all of a sudden she's like, oh yeah, the Void spacecraft, let's do the Void spacecraft. Sylvie winds up having to prune herself because of this. She gets cornered by the TVA agents, and then Ravona just looks at all the other TVA agents. She's like, all right, good, she's dead, we can move on. Pretty funny line when she just lied.
It's doing like the eyes, like, yeah, there's something here. Like, how do you even have that personality? You're a fucking not even real.
Yeah, but this is the end of time. This is like the fullest of advancements. It's interesting to know that that's as far as we get. It'll at the end of time, all we have is AI that can jump out of the screen instead of stay in the screen. I think we're pretty close to that. Is that a bad sign? Like we're almost at the end of time because like Apple's going to invent that next year.
The theory is Miss Minutes. It's just we're like one step away.
Yeah.
I mean, Stephen King was saying when he was alive, or not Stephen King, Stephen Hawking. Stephen King still is alive. Stephen Hawking was always saying, like, yeah, we're 2 years away from the apocalypse, the end of time. He was just a doomsday guy.
Fuck Stephen Hawking. I'm sick of that fucking guy. I'm happy. I thought you said what you wanted. Come on. I'm over him. Ridiculous.
But Miss Minute, that accent, like it's almost like sweet tea. Like it's sweet. It's almost a little too sweet. And you're just like, that's the person that murders you in those murder mystery games. It's the sweet little Southern talking woman. And then she fucking hits you in the back with a dagger. And Sylvie, you're a Loki, right? The name's Sylvie, whatever. You're a Loki at your heart. You're getting fooled by a spaceship fucking story. Like, come on, be better for me than the rest of the Loki.
I don't think she really got fooled. I feel like she knew, like she was like, she held that handshake.
True.
Pulled her in and was like, yeah, Miss Minutes, like, where is that at? Like, I feel like she had him on the jump. She just didn't have, like, she didn't know what, like, she didn't have a play. But I don't think she got played by them as much as you would think. I feel like she.
And maybe that goes back to like her pruning herself. She's just good at reading people. She's like, oh, that was a lie. That wasn't a lie.
Yeah.
Kid Loki takes all of the other Lokis to his underground hideout. We see Throg, which was a huge like fan favorite thing. You see a little Thor frog in a jar jumping at Mjolnir. Very funny little Easter egg. On the way, you also saw the Thanos-copter, which I know Clem was just losing his mind over. He's been the #1 Thanos-copter fan in the world for like 5 years now, and he finally got it in the MCU.
I don't know how long Thanos-copter has been around and been like a meme or whatever, but when I saw it, the first thing I did is I went online and I was just like wanted to buy something Thanos-copter, and I turned my computer into a sticker computer just so I could get a Thanos-copter sticker because I didn't know what else to like buy. And that moment, Michael Waldron, I said I'm going to kiss him on the mouth the first time I meet him in person. So if you don't want to kiss them on the mouth, but these are good lips. These are good kissing lips. Not great, but good kissing lips. I am going to kiss that man on the mouth for bringing the Thanos-copter into the MCU canon. I saw a great, and like the memes that are going to come from this are going to be incredible. And someone wrote like in an alternate reality, and it's Thanos. He's throwing the Thanos-copter off of the Vormir cliff instead of Gamora to get the Soul Stone. Like that was his true love. So like just an all time, like that was the Easter egg that I don't know if you guys did this at the house. It was like had like if whoever found the gold egg gets $10 or something like that. Mm-hmm. That was my fucking money MCU Easter egg that I don't know if it'll ever be top.
I didn't even go full Rick Dalton pointing at the screen. I just went like, oh, Clem is going to be so happy about this. This is going to make his day.
The Thanos-copter is so ridiculous.
It's just so ridiculous. He doesn't jive with the character like at all. He's like
no
big ominous guy. He's like, let me hop in my Thanos-copter.
You know, you get to thinking that like these comic book writers are so brilliant, and then you realize that they were just throwing every single thought that came because there, you know, there's so many issues that you just, I don't know, woke up one day and thought of a Thanos-copter, and we put it out there, and then 40 years later, when they make these into like cinematic masterpieces, Feige's like, oh yeah, we're not gonna do that. Maybe we'll give him like a big long blade, and we'll like have him spin it like a helicopter, but that's it. And then they do finally find a way to work it in, but it can't be like the actual basis.
Could you imagine him flying that thing with a headset on like me right now? Like, all right, Gamora, coming down right now.
Yeah, Fox 2, we're hot. Missile's hot. Like, no.
He drops one of those like ladder ropes.
That's a Trump thing. Like Trump, his stuff says Trump on everything, right? Like the fact that just says Thanos on the back.
That's like very Trumpian.
He's Trump before Trump. That's amazing.
Yeah. And Thanos is a guy. He's like, this day extracts a heavy toll. Like someone who says something like that doesn't have their name plastered on the back of a helicopter, right?
A big bright yellow helicopter.
Shout out to our guy Waldron too. I got big. I don't know if you guys got this too. Those little bird-looking things when they were all running to the lair. I got Jurassic Park vibes when they first get in with the dinosaurs and like the pack scurries away. So there was a lot of just good shit in that scene.
Oh, also,
I like the whole world, the whole like the void. That was awesome.
Yeah. How about Kev? I know you'll remember this, but Never Ending Story. I got real Never Ending Story vibes from the Goliath, like the what do they call it? The Nothing, I think.
The actual head looks exactly like him. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the bad thing in Never Ending Story was like just a cloud that consumes everything. It was like,
is this a movie show? I haven't seen this.
Yeah, this is real old.
Oh, this is some geek shit, Rob. Yeah. You might enjoy it. I don't know.
Well, I don't know if that holds up. I don't know.
I doubt it does. I doubt it does. Atreyu, and what was the princess's name? I can't remember. It had some weird name.
Are they doing something with Labyrinth, by the way? I thought I heard there was like a series or a remake of Labyrinth coming.
They should. And the Clancys have hijacked this podcast.
No, I mean, you got like the nerds in your guys' age range and our age range. You guys are tickling some nostalgic bones. I mean, everyone else like, what the fuck is going on right now? But like, if they search it, they're going to see that flying dog and be like, oh shit. And like the flying dog does not translate to 2021.
Yeah, a sequel is coming out. Labyrinth 2.
Wow.
I also got this was the first thing I thought of when I first saw Goliath. I got Fortnite vibes, like the storm in Fortnite. It's like purple, just like the storm. Yeah. And I think Loki's gonna be in Fortnite. And then even the car that Owen Wilson drove felt like a Fortnite car. So I'm like, are you guys fucking selling out to Fortnite right now, like everyone else, and just making this the exact same thing?
Did that car? I thought that was maybe an Easter egg that I just didn't know. Like the pizza.
I don't think so.
Not that I got.
Yeah, so maybe it is just a nod to something else then. There had to be.
People were saying, imagine it could have been Lightning McQueen in a world full of Owen Wilsons. It was just served up on a platter for him right there.
I forget what he
said. Is from the comics, and he does look like that in the comics, like that big purple smoke. And
his name is Goliath the Usurper, which is, I fucking love the name.
It's a badass name, and he's been used by Kang, so it's like, oh shit, here we go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, everything that I read is like, there's 50 million things pointing to King the Conqueror. Like
way more so than Mephisto even in WandaVision, like Brendan said.
Yeah, I mean, if it's anything other than that, I feel like what the fuck would it be?
The only thing I think is maybe because it's so obvious that what we get at the end of this is like an intermediary to it. Like it's not just like who is it? Jonathan Majors is cast for Ant-Man, and if it's just like not him, but it's because there is and this is where it gets like weird, and they usually do this right, but like in the comics there is He Who Remains, which is like the last timekeeper, and like but that's like very, very weird, you know, and it's much easier, but maybe it can be like an amalgam of like different characters brought together, but I don't think it's gonna be Jonathan Majors. Do we think he's gonna be revealed in this?
I feel like Jonathan Majors is gonna make his debut in the movie.
That's what I would think.
We just lost Clem for a second there. Hold on. Let's see if we can get him back.
He pruned himself.
We gotta get graphics on it. Bob, if you can have yourself prune,
so cool.
like at the end of this episode, if we all prune,
Yes,
I'm sure that just edit that for 24 straight hours.
Yeah, if I could make it prune.
There he is. I feel like unless they, I mean, I don't know. I guess it's all. I'm always interested in like how much they're going to put into the TV shows versus the movies. I mean, TV has become so important that you could make the argument having him debut on a Disney Plus series is just as, has as much clout as a major motion picture. But also just like if he signed on to do this movie and you haven't heard, I feel like we just would have heard, I don't know, just like through like literally like the regular world, like Jonathan Majors is cast, you go to fucking IMDb and it'll tell you he's in the series almost, you know what I mean? I guess you could keep it that much of a secret. But I also wonder if it's going to like allude to Kang. Then when does the movie come out? Can the movie come out between
Not for a while. Like Ant-Man 3 is in the far future. I think there's a chance we can get something like we got Thanos in the first Avengers, where in a post-credit scene, like he literally just like turns around, smiles at the camera, and that's it. I think it could be something super subtle, and he's obviously got in the comics super ties to Ravonna Renslayer. So I could see maybe she goes into the void, she gets pruned at the end, and like Alioth is coming for her, and then Kang shows up, swoops her up, goes into a portal, and then maybe we just see like his boots, but we know like, oh, those purple and blue boots are Kang.
Anything that's just not like actually Jonathan Majors, that anybody can play the part. His back, anything but his head, his suit, his, I don't know, something.
But then, like, what's the reveal for this? Like, who is behind all this? Is it a Loki variant? Is it another bad guy? Is it somebody? I mean, people were saying that castle kind of looks Doom-ish, but if it's like Fantastic Four isn't really even introduced yet, are they going to go with Doom?
I'm excited.
Oh, God damn it. You said the D word. Fucking I don't even like the Fantastic Four that much. I never was like a huge fan of them, but just the thought of Doctor Doom in this fucking universe.
If they did Fantastic Four now with Michael B. Jordan and Miles Teller and that whole cast, it would be $1 billion franchise.
And Feige in charge. Like Sony screwed up everything. Like they just were bad at writing every single thing. If they just let, those are good actors. It's not like they screwed it up. I think they make Jessica Alba good.
Yeah, they even with the band, like those guys were a little before their time for that role. You know what I mean? If you have those guys now, I think they could overcome even Sony scripts. But yeah, it's crazy that the Fantastic Four has never like hit.
Crazy. Yeah, hopefully that Feige does it right. I mean, the next one's going to be written by the guy that's written or directed the last two Spider-Man movies, which were fucking great. So
I read that maybe the Miss Minutes talking about that like potentially fake spacecraft was the Fantastic Four thing. That what Homeboy made a ship that could like travel through time or whatever. So I don't know. Maybe there's
and that's how
engineer Reed Richards comes in.
Yeah.
and they got their powers originally just by like going to space. Maybe this time it's like they were going through time and they're from another multiverse. Exactly. Multiverse can solve all these problems. Like where have the X-Men been? Where have the Fantastic Four been? But then WandaVision like kind of did the opposite of that. They just teased that. So I don't know if they'll do that. They brought in Quicksilver and then they were like, but his name's Boner.
He's just a boner.
His name's Boner. I mean, we suck a lot of Marvel dick and Feige dick. I mean, that was not great.
We sucked that boner.
We sucked the shit out of that boner. Did you guys talk about the towers being Kang Tower? Is that how you guys were talking about Kang when I got booted off?
We didn't yet talk about that, but yes, the Avengers Tower was Kang Tower, spelled Qeng, right? So that was another Kang corporation in the comics.
Is it too heavy-handed? Is it too? I mean, like, are they pushing us down that road too far?
That was, unless I'm wrong, that was just a quick, like, they were panning
quick thing in the background, yeah.
So, like, it's not heavy-handed. It's just heavy-handed because you're all fucking nerds.
We're nerds,
yes.
Exactly.
Like
we're just too big of nerds.
They zoom in on it and all that shit because when you guys watch this, you're literally going, like, frame by frame. If you're just watching it, it's not heavy-handed at all. So for the general public, they have no fucking idea.
Who does not watch it like that? Who does not watch it in slow motion?
I didn't catch any. The Philadelphia experiment obviously was like over the top. I'm a nerd for the Lighthouse of Alexandria. I noticed that. Everything else I had to like read. I was like, I'm on my phone or I'm not paying attention or I don't. care, and I'm missing the hammer and the frog and the this and the that, So it's not that heavy-handed. But once you look into it, it's like there's 5 or 6 direct references to them.
It's a text from the girl where you say, "I'll see you soon," and then if you just take it for what it is, it's like, "I'll see you soon." But then it's like, well, does she mean soon? Like she wants to see me now, or you're just picking apart like fucking idiots in the basement, which is what we're doing right now. Is for.
Speaking of the basement, they're down in the basement where the Lokis reside. Old Loki. Thank you. Old Loki says that he actually got out of his Thanos death by projecting a Loki that even fooled Thanos. And then he floated with the debris in space, and pretty much nothing was an issue with him while he's floating in space. The TVA didn't come for him until he tried to leave the planet he was on. He said he missed his brother. Then the TVA did come for him. They pruned him. Sylvie lands in the void. She's briefly intertwined with Eliath, and she enchants it. She sees like, oh shit, maybe there's something to this. Mobius picks her up in the car. Like I said, I wish it was Lightning McQueen. That would have been the all-time cameo. Back in the basement, Loki's all kind of turn on each other. Loki's like, fuck this, I'm getting out of here.
That was such
of course.
They're so good at dropping in a little like comedic relief, and like the Loki's just having a fucking gangbang war down there. I love it. When he bites off his hand, it was just like pure chaos. It was funny.
That was great. Chubbs from Happy Gilmore would have been just losing his mind at this scene, PTSD City. But he tries to escape. He meets a bunch of other Lokis. The Loki with the Vote Loki badge, who we really thought was going to be our Loki from all the trailers, is not. He's just a random dickhead Loki. And there are so many of them. There's like
President Loki on the subtitle.
President Loki. He was the worst. He got his hand bitten off by our guy Alligator Loki, who's the best. So that was great. I don't know if any of you guys saw the behind the scenes stuff about Alligator Loki. Like the actual stuffed animal they had on the set looked hilarious. Yeah. They had to use like a blue screen alligator puppet to like do all those scenes. Looked so funny. And eventually our 3 Lokis, which are Loki, Old Man Loki, like classic Loki, and Kid Loki, leave. So they're the only 3 outside of the basement at this point. They leave the rest of the Lokis down there. Maybe we'll see them next episode. Maybe all of the Lokis will need to team up, and we'll get like an Avengers style I think we had. First of all, I'm calling it now. Your Halloween costume will be President Loki, bro. I think I'm doing regular Loki. I think me and my girlfriend are doing Loki and Sylvie.
I'm guaranteeing he gets a horn and a vote for me pin or whatever.
I'm looking for it. I went to the Disney store yesterday. Surprisingly a few Loki, I definitely wanted to wear a Miss Minutes pin for this, and they just didn't have it. I was very disappointed. But yeah, I'm working on assembling it now.
We had classic Loki's like kind of redemption moment, but then Kid Loki disappeared. So I feel like we'll see him again. Kid Loki, I feel like I want to resurface classic Loki, his heroics, and now we got the kid.
Barstool should do LokiCon, and we should all dress up as a different version of Loki's and just have like a bar crawl. And
by we all, do you mean like us and then Jeff and
the 4 of us? I mean the 4 of us.
That's it.
Those Lokis being in a basement and drinking box wine, you want to talk about some God of Mischief shit? That is some mischief shit. If you're just drinking box wine with your boys and passing it around, those seats look so fucking comfortable in that basement. And you guys know me. When everyone was talking about the T-Man and about how, they faked the death and all that, that tickled my balls so much. It's like Thanos just cast a shadow over this. Obviously, with the Thanos-copter, it was absolutely awesome. Also, God of Outcasts, that's a pretty sweet name, too. Like, I was thinking, which God of Outcasts, Big Boy or Andre 3000? Andre 3000 is the God of Outcasts, right? Would you say if you had to choose one of the two?
Yeah.
Well, according to the Barstool interns, that's the only person that anyone remembers.
Yeah, true.
I would say Andre 3K is the God of Outcasts. And Afro Man is his partner. Andre 3K, Afro Man. Make up Outcasts. Kill me.
Poor Big
also,
Boy.
Also, another
man.
thing for LokiCon, this is a little fan fiction that I'm just developing in my head that we're actually going to do. The Asgardian tradition of just slamming drinks to the ground and screaming "Another!" I just really want to do that, and then I would immediately clean it up. I would apologize to everyone around me and say I'm sorry about that, but I really want to do that.
Yeah,
this is bar crawl not by choice. We get kicked out of every bar, man. We go to the next one.
Every time we chug, we go glorious purpose, and we get kicked out.
Yeah.
That's the end of each bar.
Did you guys notice what Kid Loki was drinking, by the way? He had Ecto Cooler High C.
Yeah, that's cool.
He had the actual Ecto Cooler flavor, which I love.
That's why they should have done the Lightning McQueen thing, because if everything's a nod to other Marvel stuff, fine. But if you're gonna do just high C ecto cooler as like a hey, remember that, you might as well do Lightning McQueen.
I've also this is something I've made in my fan fiction brain. I've decided that Captain Hook is a Loki variant, and that the biting of the hand right there, that was Captain Hook's origin story. Even though I don't think it's even the right hand, but nonetheless, we're just gonna go forward with it and not question it. That's Disney synergy.
I had like a Captain Hook Mandela effect the other night. I watched Tuck Everlasting. I don't know if any of you guys have seen that. It's like a cheesy kind of romance movie, and Ben Kingsley plays this creepy character in it. And I had some Mandela effect where as soon as he showed up, I was like, oh, Captain Hook, Ben Kingsley. He's the best Captain Hook. And like, my girlfriend is like, what do you mean he doesn't play Captain Hook? We looked at the IMDb page. I was stunned. Ben Kingsley never got cast as Captain Hook. I want to cast him as Captain Hook now.
Aside from Hook back in the day, have they ever done like a real life origin story? You know what I mean? Captain Hook is great. He's primed for one of those wicked, see it from his things.
Somebody wrote that book. I think there was a book where it did the backstory, but I don't think it ever got developed. But it should. That's like obvious.
Yeah.
Hook, great movie, underrated movie. If people haven't seen that, so good.
Is it underrated? Oh, that would kill me.
I think so. I never see anyone bring Hook up, and it was I owned it on VHS, on DVD. It was like kind of a staple of my childhood, I feel like.
That was the big thing, was when Big Cat said it was in his top 25 or whatever on KFC radio, and Dave's like, top 25? I can name 100 movies, and then like that became like a legitimate Barstool like debate for like a full week on the blog back when that's what Barstool was. And I mean, it still hits the notes. I watch with my kids. They love it. I love it. It's one of those movies that transcends generations. Hook, I'd say Hook top 25 movie, no doubt about it.
Oh, yeah, man. That movie's fucking unbelievable. Robin Williams, that's best. Give me a break.
Absolutely. Loki tells everyone Sylvie is our only shot at taking down the TVA. He's like, have you ever seen a female version of us? They're like, no, but it sounds terrible. Which is very funny. Richard E. Grant is so good in this. Richard E. Grant deserves like the special guest appearance Emmy or whatever for this episode. And
I saw an alligator and I wasn't even that shocked or whatever he said. Like, that was so great.
Richard E. Grant had the most wholesome tweet where it was just like a picture of him behind the scenes. It looked like a picture that he would have sent to his kids on set. And he was just like, I'm blown away by the response to this. I can't believe how many people are saying nice things. It's like, of course they are, bro. You fucking crushed it. And this is Marvel. Like, these are the nicest nerds on the planet. Go to Comic-Con and you will be a god from here on out.
Don't become a Star Wars character, though. Don't become a Star Wars character. We are not like that on the other side of the equation.
Well, he was in The Rise of Skywalker. Don't show up in that wardrobe. A massive battleship spawns. Alioth attacks it. We see that this thing means business. Sylvie meets up with Loki. Finally, she tells him she's going to enchant Alioth because they go back and forth. She's like, what was your plan? He's like, I was just going to fucking go in, try to stab it in the heart or something. I don't know, bring a dagger into that motherfucker. She's like, boys are so dumb. I am going to enchant that thing. And we see back at the TVA, Ravonna has Hunter B-15 in a very Phantom Menace style red energy cell. And she's like, you've been compromised, yes, by the variant. So that was all we saw of Hunter B-15 back at the TVA. Mobius at that point does then go back to the TVA, like you said, with the tempad. And before he does, Loki gives him a big hug. That hug, I felt it in my soul. It just felt nice.
I don't know if it's real or in my head or if they're acting this way, but I feel like Loki is really awkward when he's doing like human things. Like he's awkward with Sylvie, he's awkward with Mobius. He doesn't know how to hug, and he doesn't know how to be a friend. He doesn't know how to be a boyfriend. And I don't know if that's on purpose, but I'm like, yeah, you look weird doing it. He's like,
God of Outcasts.
Yeah. I mean, it's heartfelt, but it's also like he doesn't know how to. It's a cool dynamic. But wait, Bob. So that the one thing I did love. So do you know the Philadelphia Experiment? You know what that is?
Not really. No.
I think that's what that was.
It's the ship. Yeah. It's
so
the ship.
The Eldridge.
It's like this urban legend, sci-fi, story, but some people think it's real. That they did. It's not like is it time travel or is it like teleporting?
It was a cloak, yeah. Like it would take them off of radars. I don't know if it would be cloaking or teleporting, whatever.
Yeah, they could cloak this ship or have it teleport or have it time travel, and it disappeared and it got lost like in the ether forever. And so that showing up in the void was like a nod to that. It's one of my favorites.
That's the big battleship. Wow, yeah, so that's very cool.
Files. It was in. It's just, I think it's its own book, and I think some people think it's real. Other, obviously it's probably not. But it's one of those things that I grew up. Like I've always loved the Philadelphia Experiment. So when that popped up, I was like, oh shit, because that's where I thought my only critique so far well, I guess we're already at the end, but so I thought season 1 was going to have a lot of real life stuff outside the Marvel world. So anytime I do get a little taste of that, I'm like, all right, that's what I was looking for. So I thought that was a cool moment.
Probably too soon to put the Malaysian aircraft in there, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Those things like that all of a sudden could pop up, and you just the little things that do make you do the point, the Leo pointing. I feel like it is awesome. I want more of that in season 2.
What did you guys think of the entire setup for our climax here?
I got big time. This is when I really thought it was like Fortnite. Like the storm was chasing them, and I'm like, all right, beat the storm, beat the storm. So that was basically my one thing, as I just kept thinking about how it was Fortnite. And I was really confused because I didn't know about the Philadelphia experiment before it. And I'm just like, why the fuck are these random fucking battleships in the middle of this? Yeah. But it is pretty cool. And like I was reading how some of the people who, you know, believe in this thing, they said like the sailors said they were in Philadelphia and they got transported to Baltimore, and like people said they saw the ship come in, but then the ship log said it was in Brooklyn the whole time, and all the sailors, some sailors said they got like welded to the ship or something like that as well. And then a bunch of sailors like nothing like that happened. We were in Brooklyn the whole time. So it is kind of a fast. That's a Clem Clancy show episode right there. You just get down some of those fucking rabbit holes.
Yeah, we might have to now that it's out there in the zeitgeist a little bit. How about, was it totally by chance that you brought up Polybius to me the other day, Brent?
Yeah.
So last week he sent me an email just like, here's potential things to talk about on the podcast. And he brought up Polybius, which was in the background of this episode. Did you see that?
Oh, really?
One of the arcade games behind classic Loki was Polybius, which was like that's another urban legend. It's like a video game from the 80s that may or may not have existed. That was, the government was using it to like psychoanalyze people and gather information. So like just last week he sent me that, and then that popped up. I was like, what are the fucking chances? What are the chances of that? That's 1,000,000,000 to 1. That's some Nick Castellano shit. How does that happen?
I think that may have been Waldron on Kevin Clancy's show just to like break down like the weird wacky stuff he threw in here.
That. Yes, let's go with that.
I think that may have been in my YouTube algorithm where I'm just like looking for conspiracy theories and also looking for Loki theories, and they're like, you know, all of a sudden like the YouTube algorithm literally predicts the future.
The YouTube algorithm is fantastic. By the way, like the video, get us in the friggin' YouTube algorithm. Come on.
I love that the Ronin ship was in the background too from Guardians.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was one of the things. And then the Living Tribunal, like there was like the 3 heads, which is like a big part of this whole thing, which I don't know how much they'll actually dive into, or that was just kind of as far as the reference. Also,
that's why though the Living Tribunal is supposed to be like, you know, one of the top entities, and it's like dead or pruned, and that's where I just don't fully understand. Like, you know, was the Thanos-copter pruned because they were like, this is too ridiculous, and was the Philadelphia experiment pruned, and that's why all this stuff ends up here, or are they errors in the timeline? Is the sacred timeline real? Was that, you know, is that a real story, or is that all propaganda? Like, where are we in this?
I feel like episode 1, when, you know, the Infinity Stone's in the drawer, everybody was kind of like, well, wait a minute, does this like negate everything? I know that's how I felt, where I was like, wait a minute, this cheapens every other storyline. But now I don't know. If it's just like another bad guy's behind all of this, then I feel like it's kind of all back, you know, game on again, where it's like you can have your own, you can still have your other storylines where this doesn't rule over absolutely everything.
Our boy Welker hit me up, the T-shirt, Mr. T-shirt himself, and he was like sometimes I just like try to figure out, you know, like timelines and these variants and all these different things. I'm like, yeah, man, me too. Like I just stopped thinking about it. It's like when you're drunk at the bar at 3 a.m. You could like think about everything you're about to do. Just go with the flow, and wherever you end up, you're just gonna eat and you're just gonna enjoy yourself. Like that's basically just go along for the ride.
Marvel's done a good job, I think, of like in the Avengers when they had like Tony Stark and Hulk kind of explain it, and they were just like, this is how it's gonna be.
Right.
We're not doing Back to the Future. We're not doing, you know, but it's kind of like that, but not really. And
then that they kind of gave you that in the first episode or first or second episode where they lay out the timeline. But then the fact that it's like all potential lies. But I think they'll sum that all up, and I think we're gonna like get what is real and what isn't, and who is behind the timekeepers or who is the timekeepers, and some of that stuff is still gonna remain true, because otherwise it's just like, then it's completely confusing. Like they were like, yeah, there's this sacred timelines and these nexuses happen and it changes things. No. That's actually not how it really works at all.
And let me just make Marvel's job a little easier in terms of explanation shit. Alligator Loki is a fucking Loki. Don't you dare fucking make Alligator Loki not a Loki. That is more Loki than any of the Lokis that I saw on screen the other day.
I fucking loved Alligator Loki so much. Sylvie needs a distraction to enchant Eliath, and Loki runs into the void with a flaming dagger that Kid Loki gave him. He's just waving it around like he's a fucking air traffic controller. Come on, over here, over here. And it doesn't look like it's working.
Reference.
I was going to say, very much. Don't get me, T-Rex.
Absolutely. And it doesn't look like it's working. It looks like Eliath is going to be able to just keep going for Sylvie until the music crescendos and we cut to classic Loki projecting Asgard into the void. This was fucking awesome. The music culminating at this point was beautiful. One of my favorite parts of the whole series has been the score and the way he was just laughing and glorious purpose and realizing that people were saying Lokis exist to allow others to create like the best versions of themselves. And that's why classic Loki existed, for our Lokis to create the best version of themselves. Sylvie grabs Loki's hand. She's like, come on, we're going to enchant this together. He's like, I don't know how to do that. She's like, yes, you do. We're one and the same. Let's enchant it. They actually do it. The enchantment works just as it's about to fucking come in, claw on them. And they begin walking into this castle in Eliath. There's like this little Victorian, I don't even know how to describe it. I don't know how they're going to get there either, because it looked like it was in the middle of like the fucking Grand Canyon. But Lemony Snicket-esque, I would say. Like it was Victorian and futuristic and all in the same. Another cliffhanger. Loki, 5 episodes in, 5 cliffhangers. Every episode, the credits hit, and I'm like, motherfucker, I want next week.
I feel like in my like little research that people are saying that looked exactly like Chronopolis, which was Kang's like city. So I don't know if that holds up. But if that, I don't know, you guys might know what Chronopolis looks better than I would. But if that looks like Chronopolis, it's fucking Kang.
It's gotta be. It's Kang. It's Kang.
It's Kang. It's Kang.
It's stupid. It's dumb. Okay.
What actually looked a little bit more like Chronopolis to me was, I think, in the second Ant-Man, where they're showing the quantum realm. I think Michelle Pfeiffer's character is like describing it, and she's like whole civilizations within there, and they just like kind of briefly pan over it. I think that looked, but that doesn't. There's no reason that can't be this too. But that looked exactly like it to me. But this, like heavily. The only other thing I thought was Doom's castle, but I guess we don't say Doom around here. I don't.
You're gonna make
Clem doesn't want to hear Doom.
Doom, Magneto.
I don't think it could be Doom. I think it has to be Kang. The only reason, if WandaVision doesn't happen and we don't all go all in on Mephisto, then I'm like, well, this is 100% Kang. I would bet my life on it. But because the writers have fucked with us before like that, I'm like, now I feel like it's 100% not Kang because it's too obvious.
And I can never remember. Was this supposed to come out before WandaVision, Loki, originally, before coronavirus fucked everything up? Okay.
I think just like Black Widow was affected a bit, and then Falcon and Winter Soldier and WandaVision got swapped.
Okay, because the whole WandaVision being the first show, and we did dive so deep in, it's because we had nothing else to do because we were locked inside, so we were all just like making up shows and stuff like that. So that is definitely like the Mephisto. We've been burned by Mephisto, and he's never even showed his face on the screen. So I'm with you, Bren. I feel like it has to be Kang, though. Like absolutely. Like,
but again, I don't know if we get Jonathan Majors like in this. Like I would be.
Yeah. So
I would be surprised by that, but if it can just further the story of going towards Kang, like all that stuff we said at the beginning, if Ravonna gets swiped up or something like that, or it gets hinted at, then we were right. But then it seems like there's got to be somebody in the middle. Like they have to have another character that there's somebody else to interact with.
Yeah. That character could be a Loki, like the king, the true king of all Lokis, who's completely bamboozled us the whole time, and he's doing Kang's bidding because Loki's not like the leader. He's the assistant to the regional manager. He's the Dwight Schrute. He's the one doing all the fucking grunt work.
Is definitely a Loki. Literally a Loki variant. Dwight Schrute is a Loki variant.
What if the final showdown is something with Loki and Sylvie?
Yeah, like if Sylvie doesn't turn, if Sylvie's a bad guy,
still not actually, she's just out for herself, sort of thing. Like the whole show has been about Lokis and variant Lokis and who's good, who's bad, what's real, what's the truth, what's fake. So maybe the bad guy can still just be within that Loki realm, and you don't need to do Kang yet.
And,
Oh my
and doesn't
God.
Goes into our questions too. We got some questions about that. Patrick Murray said, "Do you think Sylvie will turn away or abandon Loki in the finale? I don't see a happy ending for these two." DNT said, "Do you think it's going to be a Loki variant that's doing all of this at the end? Maybe Kang is just hinted at. He's pulling the strings more than actually being in on it." So I could see both of those as possibilities. Like maybe Sylvie does the old like Kira in Solo, where she's like, "Fuck you. I'm going to turn you into a hardened shell right now and backstab you. Love is a dagger, right? That'll stab you in the back." Loki said it himself.
Doesn't
So
Owen
I
Wilson
could see
say
that. I could
something
see
like that?
Loki being one.
Listen, there's a lot.
Doesn't Owen Wilson say something like that? Isn't he like you always?
He's like, he's like, "Oh, I've watched you 1,000 times. You're gonna stab me in the back."
Right. Yeah.
Hey,
Like,
Bob.
heavily emphasizes it.
Just because we have guests on the podcast, you still do the Owen Wilson voice when you're talking like him. Please do that in the Owen Wilson
I
voice.
do a really bad. It's not a good Owen Wilson. He's like, "I've seen you a million times, Loki. You're just gonna stab everyone in the back."
Oh,
Sorry. That's like
He said something this episode. Didn't he say something this episode that was like, I forget what it was, and it wasn't like a wow, it wasn't like like the same syllable, but I was like, oh my god, this is classic Owen Wilson, just letting it out right there. I'm like, this is an accent that you have to hide, buddy. When you're an actor, you can't just do the Owen Wilson accent in every movie.
Do you think we're going to get more Mobiuses, by the way? Because it was sort of like hinted at earlier on, right? He left the rings on the dresser and she was like, "You left all those rings there." He's like, "I don't remember doing that." And then there were some more hints where it was
what
like,
if Mobius is a bad guy?
that would break my fucking heart, Kevin. That would break my heart. I want
would
to see him
love
on a
that.
jet ski at the end of the next episode, not as
But
a villain.
in the comics, there are like many Mobiuses. So maybe like, what if the bad guy is a Mobius variant, not a Loki variant? So it
That would
still
make me
looks
so
like Owen
upset.
Wilson's, but it's not the real Owen Wilson. I don't know. Sometimes that gets confusing when it's like
I think that
identical
that's
copies.
much more. I think that the ending will be much more variant based with a nod to Kang for the future than it's Kang.
I think our boy Loki's getting his heart broken. I think he's dying yet again, and I think I mean, our boy Loki's horny, right? Our boy Loki is horny right now, and he is at risk, right? Like, you're a frost giant, you're not cold. You don't need a little fucking tablecloth to keep you and your girl cold. She is
He
going
needs to
to
get
fucking.
bonked.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
She's gonna bonk him with a fucking dagger, and she's gonna be like, "You were always going to die alone." And then that's gonna be cutscene. And if we get Kang, like you said, I think it might be kind of like the Thanos look back, like we got like from him, and it wasn't actually Brolin; it was just some random CGI. And I could see that being our Kang. I'd even like if they like did like frame for frame the same thing, except it's like, this is our new Thanos that's gonna basically linger over this entire phase.
And
I would
Kang,
be down for that homage.
Kang is one of those dudes who like can fucking run shit like Thanos.
Yeah.
Like,
This is what's so
No,
weird
maybe
about
not
Kang.
like Thanos because he doesn't have the stones, but he's got the time travel.
Yeah, this is where like because Thanos is so weird in the comics too, and how he's like in love with Death, and Death loves Deadpool, and it's weird and it's strange. But they just were like, we're just gonna make this better. Like we're gonna fix this. We're gonna give this a good storyline. Kang is so complicated because it's throughout so many different timelines. It's like forget about multiverse. This is like the timelines within the multiverse, and then there's a Mortis who's like future Kang, and Kang is also a descendant of Reed Richards from Fantastic Four,
which makes
and
it
it's
all
just
confusing.
like-
He's
but
kind
they
of
usually-
Neil Richards.
they usually just figure this stuff out, and they're just like, we're gonna make him awesome.
Yeah.
I've said to Bob a bunch, I need to see because they have like a huge, like it's a full room of just whiteboard, and it's Kevin Feige like being like, no, this is how they're gonna take this huge equation, and it's just gonna be just easy shit that kids eating popcorn 10-year-olds can figure out in a movie theater, right? And I'm dying to see how they're gonna make Kang, who I don't even know all the shit about Kang, but like what Brent says, all that just to like something that is like Thanos, where it's like he's cool, he is layered, but it's like still just an easy movie character to digest.
Does he oversee everything? Like there's one
Kang?
guy.
Kevin Feige?
Yeah, Feige.
Yeah.
So he's
He's
like
the boss man.
he tells you, you can do this with your show, but not this. You can do this with your movie, but not that sort of thing.
He is the be all end all. Yeah. He's
That's
not
wild.
necessarily, I don't think he's sitting there being like, this is my idea for Loki, this is my idea for this, but he's hiring all the people. He's saying, he's giving them the yeses, the nos. He's the one at the top of the food chain. And speaking of the food chain, by the way, before we get into questions and stuff like that, I would love to talk about HelloFresh. HelloFresh has been an amazing sponsor from My Mom's Basement, and I actually used my own promo code last week and started getting HelloFresh meals sent to my apartment. I made a cheesy chicken that Clem recommended me with like a little spaghetti next to it. Oh my God, it was so good. And even better than that, actually. I would say that was like a 9 out of 10. If you want to go for the 10 out of 10, I had some shrimp fajitas that were to fucking die for. HelloFresh is the #1 meal kit in America. Cut out the stressful meal planning, the grocery store trips, and you can enjoy cooking at home. Get dinner on the table in less than 30 minutes. HelloFresh is 28% cheaper than shopping at your local grocery store and 72% cheaper than getting a restaurant meal, and you don't sacrifice the quality. Like I said, I just rated their meals a 9 out of 10 and a 10 out of 10. I got this week a steak and mashed potatoes one, and I've got a shrimp pasta one, because there's a place in the city called Ruby's. They make this shrimp pasta that's fucking unbelievable. So I'm hoping HelloFresh, it tastes just like that one. If you go to HelloFresh.com/14Robbie and then use the promo code 14Robbie, that's the promo code that I used this week, you'll get 14 free meals. That's ridiculous. There's no other place that's offering you 14 free meals. You're not going to walk into McDonald's and they're going to say, you want 14 free Happy Meals? You're not going to walk into a restaurant. They're going to offer you 14 free steaks. HelloFresh is. So go to HelloFresh.com/14Robbie. Use the promo code 14Robbie and join in on the fun. Clem does it. I do it. We all do it.
My boy KFC was the one who told me, he goes, yo, HelloFresh, that shit is legit. We had it on We Gotta Believe. And like I said, not only is the food awesome, which that cheesy chicken was like the best meal I've had all year, but it was something me and the wife did. Like we just like, all right, kids, go play your iPads for an hour. We're going to make dinner. And it was the first time, like, since we basically had kids, it was like, that's the girl I married. That's right. I forgot about her. Like we actually had fun for once, because it's either you're staring at a screen, right, or you're like yelling at your kids to stop doing stuff. So it's a good group activity. If you're solo, again, you can do it too. It's awesome food, and I mean, again, 14 free meals. You have to be basically Loki to get that kind of a hookup.
I mean, that's crazy. You could literally feed all of the Lokis that were in that basement with those 14 free meals. Let's get into the sus list, Clem. Who's on the sus list? Is it just Ravona? Is it Miss Minutes? Do you have a sus list this week? What's going on?
All right, I got a sus list here. So it's I could go 5. I'm going to go 4. So 4, I have to throw this one out there. I know you're going to get mad at me, Bob. I'm throwing it out there. And it's because our boy, Nick Hamilton, everyone here is part of the Ham fam. We love the man. That fucking TikTok where it's Casey, and then KC for King the Conqueror. Casey, obviously, from who had like the fucking drawer full of Infinity Stones.
Who doesn't know what a fish is?
What's a fish?
Yeah, what's a fish? That's such a sus line. Kevin, what would you do if you heard someone say, what's a fish? I don't care what reality or dimension you're living.
You can't be Kang the Conqueror for multiple timelines and not know what a fish is. Come on.
Maybe he knew and he was just trying to get Loki to believe he didn't. It's like the Watchmen thing with the KC is like when it was Excalibur. Like that was the whole like Easter egg thing in Watchmen. So listen, I like our guy Casey, but I understand why he's on the sus list, Clem.
Okay, 3. I mean, Ravona Renslayer, like it's like you are sus, so you are what you are. So she is what she is. She's 3. I guess I could push everyone down to it. Then it's like tied for 2. Any and all Lokis at this point. So Sylvie, our Loki, whatever Loki could be in that variant. I feel like we're going
Clem,
to
is
getting
this
another
just
Loki.
The entire database of the characters of this show?
I mean, we're watching a show called Loki, and it's like, who's sus? Well, it's after fucking Loki, and I know it's gonna be like Mobius isn't even on the list. It'll probably be him at the end, and I'm gonna look like a real asshole. But the #1 person on the sus list, we've already discussed her. That fucking sweet fucking Southern charm, the voice, everything you want to say. Miss Minute, just stalling. Listen, me and my Siri have a fucking rivalry. I ask her stuff all the time, and then she just ignores me. She's like, oh, like the little circle will be there. She'll say hello, and then she just will never set my alarm. She'll never like search the thing for me. And my wife just laughs at me.
In your life, Clem, just ignoring you. I don't care.
Yep. So the fact that she kind of stalled there is like, oh, let me look for the files there. The fact she's like a sentient being, she knows what she's doing. That's some sus shit right there. So she knew what she was doing. So Miss Minute, we're fucking on to you. We know what you're doing. Fuck you, Miss Minute.
Fuck you, Miss Minute. On to the questions. The first one from Hunter Fisher. We sort of asked this at the beginning of the episode, but I'm just going to go around. It's going to go Kevin, Clem, Brendan. I just want a yes or no here. Is that judge lady being genuine about wanting to know who the timekeepers are? Kevin?
No.
Clem?
No.
Brendan?
I'm going to say yes.
You know what? I'm going to go with you, Brendan, but I'm going to say she actually does want to know. She doesn't know. She's confused like everyone else. Now, why her motivations would be so strong as to like, yes, I'm on the TVA side, fuck everyone else, I don't know. That's what's confusing to me, but who knows? And finally, from a zillion beers, because we answered a ton of these questions before we actually got into questions, now that I'm looking at them, a zillion beers tweeted us, and he said, what happened when Sylvie bombed the timeline in episode 2? Did they just fix it between episodes? I wanted to address this because a few people asked this last week, and I kind of realized myself, I think we made a bigger deal out of this on the podcast than we should have. We were like, is that the multiverse of madness from Doctor Strange? No. I think what Sylvie's plan was to get all of the TVA agents out of the TVA so she could go after the timekeepers there. And then she got intercepted the next episode, right? But I'm pretty sure that was just her plan, get all the TVA agents out of the TVA itself so she bombed the timeline and they would all have to go fix it. I believe that's what happened.
Yeah, I co-sign that, and that's the thing is I started getting like angry tweets. What the fuck? They're supposed to bomb the timeline and just do. Guys, settle down. I'm fighting against Loki fans. I'm fighting against Marvel fans. Mets fans are getting me every time Francisco Lindor strikes out. It's like everyone just enjoy the ride, man. Life's a journey, not a destination. Steven Tyler said that in Amazing, so you know it's fucking true.
Clem's timeline's getting bombed. He's just
exactly. he like you said, Bob. They all had to go out. They used their little gravity bongs, reset the timeline in like 100,000 different places. There was a lot of cool Easter eggs about where those things happen. And then Sylvie's plan was to, murder the timekeepers, and Loki fucked it up for her. So that's all it was.
The timekeepers were mad corny. I don't know if that was
corny.
They were like Chuck E. Cheese animatronics.
Yeah.
Right.
One voice was very, I felt like very Star Wars-y at one point. And like he kind of spoke like Yoda almost. It's like, I don't know if it's supposed to be corny, but like, that was,
I felt like it had to be. Like
I felt like
that was supposed to be like this is serious.
Vibes that were like this feels fake. I said to Clem, like when I first saw them, I was like, the CGI doesn't look great on those guys. And then you realize like, oh, they're robots. And then you look at the CGI in this episode and you're like, okay, I don't think they spared any fucking expenses on CGI budgets here.
I guess they wanted to downplay it or whatever, but it was like if this thing was supposed to convince anyone who stands before it that they control the fate of all universes, I thought it would be better.
Was Ravonna fooled by that, or did she just know at that point?
I think she knew.
She knows everything. She's fucking super.
I think she knew that. I think she knew the timekeepers themselves probably were fake.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why she panicked, because she was like, protect the timekeepers, because she's like, oh, fuck, they're about to find out that they're fake. Yeah. All right, this has been a great episode. I appreciate the Clancy Variants for coming on. Clem, I appreciate you joining us from vacation. When this goes out, it's going to be Friday. Hopefully tomorrow we get redemption in Las Vegas. Conor McGregor wins. If you are in a legal state, we got things on the Barstool Sportsbook. We got like bets and stuff. You could join us, Conor McGregor via TKO. I think we got like plus 225 right now boosted. It's a tremendous value. And if you've made it to the end of the episode, why don't you put hashtag RIP Classic Loki in the comments, because what a noble sacrifice that was. Glorious purpose indeed. Richard E. Grant killed that role. Throw it in the comments below. Like the video if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't already. Subscribe to the Kevin Clancy Show on YouTube. Subscribe to KFC Radio on YouTube, on podcasting platforms as well. So don't come after me, Brendan. I said subscribe on the podcast.
Answer the internet. Oh, you motherfuckers.
Answer the internet back. Yeah. New season.
Tell
everyone on YouTube right now.
Subscribe to us.
We'll get those celebrities out there. Some of these comedians shouting out My Mom's Basement.
Are we going to do a finale wrap up? I'd love to be back in on that.
I would love to have you back for the finale. Yeah.
Let's do it. I'm in.
All right. We will see you guys next week then with the new Loki squad. Maybe we'll be in Loki costume next week. We probably will.
Dibs on alligator Loki.